Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Vechain. Now, I want to be honest with you guys on this project. I have a lot of friends and family that are asking me about Vechain. The common questions that I get is Vechain a good investment? And is now a good time to be purchasing Vechain? We're going to answer those questions in this video. I'm going to tell you the good and the bad. And essentially, we'll start with the bad news. First of all, let me outline what I've got planned for you in this video. So we're going to be taking a look at the charts. I'm going to be looking at the weekly, the daily, and the 4-hourly. And they are all, to me, indicating something. We're going to get into what that something is in this video. And then essentially what I'm going to do after that is we're going to take a look at Vechain as a project and why Vechain, in my opinion, is a good investment. And of course, we're going to try and cover is now the best time to be buying Vechain. But essentially, I believe Vechain is a very solid project. When we first sort of mentioned Vechain on this channel, it was a fraction of the market cap and price that it is now. And it has essentially performed exceptionally well over the past since the start of the year, really. So let's jump straight into the video, guys. Let's take a look at where Vechain is today. It's currently sat at 19 cents, and it's down around about 1.2% on the daily, down around about 13% on the weekly, and has a market cap of $12.5 billion. So that market cap has shot up significantly and is 13th in terms of market cap. I remember when Vechain was outside the top 100. However, that's neither here nor there. So what we're going to look at, and like I say, one of the questions I get asked frequently is now a good time to be investing in Vechain? I'll be absolutely honest with you from the start, guys. To me, Vechain looks like it is going to continue to sell off. I don't think it's going to sell off. I don't think it's going to sell off sort of in a 50% or anything like that. But I think you are definitely going to continue to sell off. You're going to continue to capitulate before we then make that next sort of impulse to the upside. Ultimately, by the end of the year, guys, I think the Vechain price is definitely going to go under $1. We've been saying that since the price of Vechain was, a cent. We have high hopes for this project, and I think $1 is very pessimistic. That's only really a 5x from where we are. It could significantly outperform that, go to $2, $2 plus, etc., etc. But we're going to focus on the short time frame for now. And what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to look at the weekly chart, and we're going to look at this EMA. I could use an EMA ribbon, but for the sake of simplicity and trying to not confuse you guys, this is very, very revealing, because what we've essentially done is we've ran away from this EMA. FOMO kicks in, the project sort of starts to move, and then everyone kind of gets on board, and, fear of missing out kicks in. We're seeing that with Polygon today. And essentially, you get overextended from your EMA. Now, what does this mean, guys? Well, the best thing to do when you're trying to analyze a chart and you're trying to look into the future and see what a price is going to do, is to take a look at how it's acted in the past. What this has typically mean, what this data shows us, is a potential possibility for the future. You can see here, guys, we ran away from our EMA. It's usually always, and it's not just Vechain this applies to, it's the majority of the market. When you run away with it, it's usually met with a reconciliation to your EMA, and we think a similar thing is going to play out today, guys. Vechain is currently sat at 19 cents. It was all the way up at 25 cents, and essentially, if we look at where the EMA is today, it's at 9 cents, guys. So for us to meet that, I do not think for a minute now that we are just going to roll over and kind of sell off to it in that sort of a manner. I think you're essentially going to capitulate, but you're going to continue to kind of trend downwards. So to answer that question, is now a good time to buy Vechain? In my personal opinion, Vechain is going to be at a lower price over the coming days and potentially weeks before it does what it kind of has done prior. We finished consolidating. We finished essentially what I'm trying to show you here, guys, is this move here I think is going to play out again. It's not just on this chart that you can kind of see that this is kind of apparent. So essentially where you are right now, guys, is you are sort of here. You still have to meet this EMA. Once you've met this EMA, you'll capitulate around it before you then will impulse once again. I think that's how this is going to play out. So I would, and one thing, if we take a look at this last move, guys, and the numbers are almost the same, just on a smaller sort of scale. Vechain went from 2.1 cents all the way, and its EMA was at 0.9 cents. It did meet up with it around about 12 cents. So if we were to kind of apply that logic to today, you could kind of guess that you perhaps may come all the way back down to 14, anywhere from sort of 12 to 14 cents, I think is likely. I think you are going to see those numbers once again. So if you are looking to invest, and this is not financial advice, it may be a good idea to kind of see what happens with this project over the next couple of days. Now let's take a look at a daily time frame and tell us what that is showing. And essentially, guys, I think it's showing the same thing. You can see that this kind of acts as an elevator when you're above it. And once you kind of get below it, it will act as kind of resistance and an area that you sort of consolidate around before, breaking above it with some momentum and kind of using it as an elevator once again. So I think you're on for a similar kind of thing. I think you're just essentially going to capitulate. I don't think there's going to be any kind of big price movements really up or down. I do think you are going to sort of go down. But ultimately, and this is what we're going to touch on in the end of the video, or towards the end of the video, is we're going to look at why Vechain perhaps is a good investment. When you're looking to invest in something, TA is great, but it only really tells you the short-term sort of price movement of a coin, unless you're looking at something like the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory. So what you want to do is you want to invest in something based on its fundamentals. You can see the kind of story is the same here on the 4 hourly, guys. It's used as an elevator. You go below it, and once you kind of make that initial dip below it, you can see what happens, guys. So it's used as an elevator, you go below it, and then essentially you will consolidate around the EMA before then making your next leg. And we think a similar thing is going to play out today. Of course, the entire market, Bitcoin's looking like it's going to consolidate. There's a number of things that are looking like consolidation is what is going to come, and with sort of a downtrend. So it's going to be a downtrending consolidation, in my opinion. And like I say, you could see that sort of 12 to 14 cents Vechain over the next coming days or weeks, perhaps. Now, one thing I want to do, as I've kind of knocked you down and told you that I think it's going to sell off, is I want to talk about Vechain as an investment. The reason we've sort of shouted this project out on a number of occasions is because we have very, very high hopes for it. This is one of the only blockchains out there that really has a real-world use case. Not only does it have a real-world use case, guys, let's just take a look at some of the partnerships that they have. First of all, let me just explain what Vechain is. Vechain is a focused supply chain blockchain. So what Vechain wants to do is essentially, using blockchain technology, tell you the origins of a project of a product. So, for example, let's say you wanted to buy a Louis Vuitton handbag. You essentially would onboard Vechain to help those projects become accurately verifiable. They would use blockchain technology, implement their system and their protocol, and essentially you, as the consumer, if you went to buy that bag, you could scan a barcode, and essentially it would tell you the origins of that bag and be able to authenticate whether it was a genuine good or not. The counterfeits trade market, guys, they reckon is around about 3.3%. That doesn't just cover clothing, that covers food, medicines, you name it, it covers it, and it can, it's not great when people are taking sort of counterfeit pharmaceuticals or counterfeit food. So if you look at Vechain and the sort of partnerships they have, they've got BMW, they've got some fantastic partnerships. They are partnered with Walmart, I believe, in China. The creator, Sunny Lu, is actually Chinese himself. And he is a very impressive individual. He was the CIO for Louis Vuitton. He's worked with a number of other companies. This guy here, very, very impressive individual. And this blockchain is impressive. They have real world partners, and they are, you can stake this blockchain. It runs on, it's a proof of stake consensus called proof of authority. They do have smart contract capabilities, believe it or not. So that's another bonus for them. They did say they were going to, sort of have people build dApps on them, which you theoretically could do. They've said they're going to move into the NFT space. They're going to move into the DeFi space. I'm not really very fond of them doing that. I know that might bring more use cases to the blockchain, but we already have those. We already have blockchains with those capabilities. I like the fact that Vechain was niche in its kind of supply chain goals. And, I think this is a fantastic project. It's certainly not a project to kind of be overlooked, guys. I mean, we can see some of the news on Vechain. Vechain, Reiji Hospital and DNV held strategic partnership signing ceremony to launch world's first how blockchain can change our society. A blockchain-based COVID-19 record app for Cyprus. Walmart China subsidiary teams up with Vechain to trace food products. So you can see that these guys are, implementing themselves in the real world. Very, very impressive team, very impressive fundamentals. And the blockchain itself, if you read the white paper, is, with their kind of proof authority take on proof of stake, is very interesting. There's 101, I think it is, or 111 authority nodes, and you need a set amount of Vechain to kind of become one of those. You can stake it. Staking rules aren't great, but hey ho. So that's what I have for you on Vechain, guys. I'm going to love and leave you. Just remember, we'll kind of recap very quickly. I do think you are going to consolidate for a period in a downwards kind of consolidation for a while before you then sort of make your next impulse to the upside. Long term, this is a great investment. Short term, if you're looking to open a short term position, certainly a long short-term position, I would perhaps not do that. That's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to love and leave you for now, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. Comment as well, guys. They're very welcome. I want to know your feedback. I want to know your thoughts. We are working on the production of these videos. Lots of people saying they want to see this beautiful face in 1080p. I am going to make that dream a reality for you. Do not worry. And we'll see you in the next video, guys. So get subscribed to one of the fastest and realest growing YouTube channels out there, and I'll see you all in the next one.